Good morning, folks. This is John Decker, Director of Community Services at Alta California Regional Center, and this is Coffee with Community Services, which is Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. Today is May 3rd, 2024. Thank you very much for joining us today. And I am immediately throwing it over, and I don't know if he can hear me and possibly unmute himself, but I will throw it over to Herman Kothi, who is somewhere. Maybe I wonder if they can tell Herman and Lori Benalis where we're at. Where are you? Can you hear us? No, they can't hear us. Uh-oh. Well, I will share with folks. Oh,
We can hear
Herman,
you.
unmute.
It's a lively event here, John. We got a DJ in the background, and we're out celebrating Special Olympics. And we've got some of our vendors here, Ridgeline. I invited them to join Coffee with Community Services, and Lori's here and got to give opening statements for the ceremony for the athletes.
Good morning, everyone. This is a great event. This is promoting Special Olympics to the Young Athletes Program, which is really inviting our 3, 4, or 5-year-olds into the program to look at what Special Olympics has to offer for them. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's absolutely hilarious to watch these littles do their activities, cutest in all the right ways.
Excellent. Thank you all very much for being out there at Special Olympics, and have a great time.
Thanks for letting us say hi to the vendors.
Awesome.
I'm gonna sign off because it's a little loud, but
that's all right. Thank
happy
you.
Friday.
Oh, cool. I love it when we plan things like that with like 5 minutes notice. That worked out awesome. Thank you guys. That was so cool. All right, we have a big agenda for today we are going to go through. And for today, where we will start off with our sign of the week. Oh, we already did Special Olympics Live. Special Olympics Live, very good. We are going to talk about the statewide RFP for financial management services. I think Dan Kilmer might be sharing about that one. And then we have our statewide, then we have update on the DSP stipend from Michelle Duchesne. And then we are also going to be talking about the statewide IPP standardization meeting that occurred. And so Michelle Johnson's going to be talking about that. Michelle Johnson's also going to be talking about an opportunity for stakeholder feedback about caseload ratios as well. We also have some updates. We did our community meeting this week. Michelle and I last night were in Winters, California, doing a town hall meeting, and I've got a couple pictures of that from last night as well. We have some updates from Carly on the DSP Collaborative. We had our return to our work group, kind of refocusing and talking about the future. So we'll discuss that a little bit. We have a service provider spotlight with Southside as well. Let's see here. And we are going to talk about the employee sick leave and the ability for the rates to be adjusted related to employee sick leave. We may get into our new HCBS numbers as well. I think Scott's got those handy. But I'm going to throw it over, I believe it's to Michael for the sign of the week and Deaf Culture 101. I'm not sure who it is this week. I'm going to check. I believe it. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Michael Mercado. I am the Deaf and Hearing Service Specialist. Are we ready for the sign of the week? So first, I want to acknowledge that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So the sign of the week is going to be related to mental health. So this is the sign for mental. You use your index finger and you bend it and point it to your head. Can everybody see me? So you point it to your head for mental, and typically you tap it 2 times. Mental. Health is like this. Health, starting from your shoulders, you have your 5-hand shape, and it's going to move like this as you move away from your shoulders. So health, like this. So you put it together, you have mental, health, mental, health. All right, good job, everyone. So now we're going to take a moment to discuss this topic further. And as it relates to deaf and hard of hearing mental health individuals' mental health. So typically, deaf and hard of hearing folks experience mental health at twice the rate of hearing people, with depression, anxiety, hopelessness, and loneliness. And there are several reasons that contribute to this, and a lot of it has to do with the barriers that they're facing in their everyday life. Some of these barriers include hospitals frequently don't provide interpreters or access to the information. When the doctor comes in, whether it be related to a medicine or medical treatment, there's very little explanation and they're unaware, which then puts the burden on the family to communicate all this information to the deaf or hard of hearing patient, in which case can be inappropriate. So, and additionally, service support staff such as nurses, group homes, day programs, who work with deaf and hard of hearing individuals, typically those staff don't know sign language, which contributes then to that isolation, feeling of loneliness and depression to the deaf and hard of hearing individual. Often unemployment is a higher rate for deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Typically, that does contribute to mental health challenges, also with frustration, loneliness. So how exactly can we change this? And I encourage you first to recognize these challenges and how we can support deaf individuals. So as it relates to hospital services, having people who work anywhere that are taking care of deaf and hard of hearing people should really should understand that deaf individual patients need all their needs met, and that would include providing an interpreter. And especially for a deaf patient interacting with their healthcare professionals, rather than it being family who's working through the communication, it would be more appropriate to have an interpreter. Then we have day programs and other facilities. It would be nice to have staff trained in basic sign language, or hire a deaf and hard of hearing person who knows sign language and can communicate with those deaf clients. And additionally, advocate for equal access for deaf individuals in all companies' areas to promote inclusion. So sometimes deaf and hard of hearing individuals will work with one company for more than 10 years, but they're not offered any ability to promote within the workplace. So first, we must identify these barriers before we can provide the support and advocacy we need to go ahead and make the difference to reduce these barriers. We would like to include all the things I mentioned to break down those barriers and help mitigate some of these mental health challenges for deaf and hard of hearing individuals. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. That was great. And for those of you that are service providers, there's an email that goes out to our staff that outlines all of this, and along with the YouTube link for the sign of the week. So really appreciate this as always. All right. Dan Kilmer, we had a statewide RFP that went out for FMSs. And so what do we got going on right now with that?
Yeah, thank you, John. And I can put in the chat a link to the YouTube video.
Perfect,
and then I can also attach the RFP as well.
That would be excellent. Thank you.
So recently, it seems like the state had acknowledged that the FMS has not been keeping up with the demands of supporting individuals with self-determination programs, the participant-directed services, social recreation services, and employment opportunities. And so the state was able to redirect $6 million in POS dollars over to startup. which prompted the regional centers, all 21, to get together and put out this statewide FMS request for a proposal. So the way it's set up is that there's 3 different regions, right? There's the South, Central, and Northern. So East LA Regional Center is the lead for the South region. We have Kern Regional Center, the lead for the Central. Then Alta is the lead for the North region. So any applicant who wants to participate in this request for proposal can submit their proposal to the lead regional center in the region that they're applying for. So I can attach so we did hold on Tuesday at 3 o'clock, we held a bidders conference via Zoom, which was recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So I will post that link into the chat in just a moment. I can also attach the handout, which explains, all the funding, the need for the expanded FMS service, the timeframes, if you're going to submit a proposal for the FMS, we're looking at May 15th being the deadline to submit your proposal. So your timeframes are getting short. And then we're needing to be in contract with all these selected applicants by June 30th. So so the outline here will go through the need for this expanded FMS, the 4 different areas that of service, which I just mentioned, and then what needs to go into your proposal. And then there's a bunch of attachments that you would need to complete and attach with your proposal. And then I think the links to submit your proposals are in the handout. So there's 3. You would submit your proposals to the lead regional center, and all the information is in there. So is there anything else, John, that you want to?
No, just the expression of my sincere appreciation to you and who everyone else that has worked to operationalize a statewide RFP in like less than a business week of getting things done. There's been a whole lot of activity that has had to occur once we learned that the state was going to allow us to use this funding. And we also know that those activities all require us to have the funding in contract by the end of June, which we know is now less than 2 months away. And so getting all 21 regional centers to coordinate on timeframes and identify staff and identify a process and to hold a statewide bidders conference to be able to, I think we had about 69 people that logged in, and about 10 of them are regional center staff. So that's a lot of interested applicants as well. We know we have interested applicants because we received a flood of emails that have come in to the RFP inbox because people have questions about this because it went out. All 21 regional centers put it out on their social media. They put it out on their websites, kind of all at once. So shout out, I know Faye and Carly and Dan and Christy all worked on the PowerPoint information to make sure that we had it. And Jordan has been kind of making sure everything gets pushed forward on this. So I really appreciate all the work that's gone into it. And if we can't have this large reliance as a state on the FMSs without some statewide approaches to trying to resolve the challenges. And so I think the state made a big commitment to resolving this by allowing the regional centers to have $6 million to begin further shoring up our FMS opportunities. Does anyone have any questions about that before we move on?
Yeah, I just put the link to the YouTube video, and then the handout is in the chat.
Thanks, Dan. I put the link to our website too.
Unfortunately, we've gotten way too accustomed to getting into contract with people in short time frames. And so this is something that our staff are certainly used to, but again, doing it and coordinating with all the other regional centers, reviewing all the proposals is a lot. So again, I just appreciate the staff taking on that responsibility for the state. So thank you. All right. Michelle Duchesne. See if I can find you on here. Make you a co-host. There you are. If you're not a co-host already, make co-host. There you go. DSP stipend.
We're not hearing her.
Oh, you have no sound.
Let me go let her know. Okay, hold
Michelle
on.
Johnson. Michelle Johnson. Statewide IPP standardization, please.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I am going to share my screen. Can you guys let me know if you see my screen?
Looks perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I had the pleasure of attending a public meeting last week about the statewide IPP that the department rolled out in a public meeting. So just a couple of facts. So in 2023, there was a new law, Welfare and Institutions Code 4435.1, that came out. And we know that really the basis of creating this document is based upon a desire for regional centers to be uniformed, to have a uniformed IPP. And also it's based on equity. So having a equitable and uniformed way of completing IPPs. And so this is the document that was shared in that public meeting. And I'll go through it in just a second. So we know that the department has been meeting with stakeholder groups. And again, we had the public meeting last week. We expect that the final draft of this document will be rolled out at I believe they said the end of June. It could be the beginning of July, but I thought they said the end of June. And that regional centers will have about 6 months to train on it. So basically from July 1st through December. And then the expectation is for all regional centers to begin utilizing this standardized IPP document on January 1st, 2025. And so we will go through just briefly what was presented. So we have a sample IPP for an individual named Monica. The IPP will, the first page of it is the introduction, what people should know about Monica, what they admire and like about Monica, and a list of her successes and what she's proud of. And then there are 12 different categories of services that, and I'll scroll to those real quick. 12 different categories for discussion in the IPP. So the individual can have any one or all 12 of these categories represented in the IPP. And there are 4 standard questions that are going to be basically answered in each one of those categories. So this one is, for example, is about communication. And so how I communicate with others, things that the individual wants people to know about her in terms of communication. So I love to talk with others. I will talk with anyone about almost any subject. If you don't understand something I say, politely ask me to repeat it. Again, this is going to be in first person language. And during the feedback of that meeting, there was some discussion about the fact that the template or the proposed IPP is in first person. Some people wanted it to be third person, but that remains to be seen. Again, that the purpose for DDS having this meeting was to share the draft and also to ask for feedback from the community. So again, we've got the 12 areas of discussion, and these are the questions that will be represented in each category. What is the desired outcome of the service? What's currently happening? What's important to the individual? What's important for the individual? And then what needs to be done to achieve the desired outcome? So just scrolling through, so you have an opportunity to kind of see what the current draft of the IPP looks like. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to share about that. Again, different categories of the services or goals that the individual can add to their IPP. Okay, I will stop sharing at this point that particular document. They also rolled out the suggested or the proposed agreement. And I'll see if I can bring that up really quick.
And real quickly, we do have a hand raised by Michelle Ramirez, and I want to Michelle Johnson and I had to talk yesterday about this topic and sharing it at Coffee with Community Services, because many of our staff, many of our managers, this is like their first time hearing about it. However, the way the department is very open with stakeholder feedback now, many of you service providers, many of our advocates, everyone hears about these things sometimes before the regional center staff do. And so giving an opportunity for us to kind of in real time, that's why we have these meetings every Friday, to be able to kind of talk about what the stakeholder opportunities are, because before these things are finalized, we want to ensure that you all have opportunities to be able to speak up and let DDS know your thoughts on these different things. And so, again, that's for we don't always have all the answers on how we're going to operationalize everything while we talk about it at Coffee with Community Services, but we definitely want to ensure that you guys get to be part of that stakeholder process, which after we do this, I think Michelle's going to talk about another stakeholder opportunity too. But Michelle Ramirez, maybe we can run over to your question real quick before we move on.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask it. Do you know what format this will be in? And if there'll be any ability to collect data from it based on that format? You know, because I think that if everybody's using the same template, there's an opportunity there to be able to extract data in an easy way, but that format would have to be structured in a certain way so that it could be easily extracted. That was my first question, if you knew anything about that, because we have had a little problem with the CFS forms. They were done in like an Excel format where you could pull data out, and it has made it a little wonky, but you know, so that's just one comment, or I guess question. And then the other one was about training. Once this rolls out, I'm assuming that regional centers will be responsible for making sure that everyone is implementing this the same way, and the service providers are very aware of the expectation of completing all segments of it. So that was it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. They're allowing us, you know, time, and we're grateful for that. So again, they expect to have the final draft done. I think they said at the end of June. And so essentially we'll have basically from July to December. So I know internally we're already having some meetings, Jennifer Bloom and I, and Herman, our training manager. We met with Elijah Jenkins, our data scientist, and Iqbal, our CFO, because we do recognize we want to get in front of this, and also with regard to you hit the nail on the head, what the format is. I know that we're going to be pretty soon transitioning to Atlas, and so we're working on that. I don't know for the other 20 regional centers what their formats are, but what I do know is that the format needs to be compatible, because it's department expects that all regional centers will be utilizing this standardized IPP. So we're trying to get in front of it and make sure that the technology we're using will accommodate and support the department's goal to have this standardized IPP.
Thank you.
Yeah. And just real quick, this is the agreement form that they shared. This is what it will look like, the desired outcome, the category area here. In some cases, we know, obviously regional center fund services, but there may be other resources that are available generically in the community. So there's a supported by column, a start and end date for authorizations if it's a paid service, and then for us to capture the frequency and of the service and who the funding source is here. So just wanted to share quickly about the what the agreement will look like. I wasn't present for the meeting because I had to step out and go and attend another meeting, so I wasn't present when they walked through this document, but here is the draft of the agreement form. So I will, when I'm done presenting, I will find the address and drop it in the chat, because again, the department is seeking feedback, and that was the reason for the public meeting. So I'll drop that in the chat so that everyone has an opportunity to feel heard. And I'll
Anyone
stop
that
sharing the
I see
document.
Sarah's comment there in the chat, and I just want to touch on that. Is there anyone that has this updated version that was shared last week? Was that last week or this week? Last week. Does anyone have the version on DDS's website? Like, does anyone know if it's actually on there, the one that Michelle just shared? Because Sarah just commented in the chat that the version that she found on there was the older version that looks like an earlier draft, possibly.
Hey, John,
Rhonda?
the sample, I don't know what's on the website. I actually didn't get a chance to look at that, but the sample IPP document that they use for Monica, it doesn't have all the categories in it that Michelle's sharing from the presentation. They just put a few of the categories in it. And so
Oh,
in
okay.
the presentation document that Michelle is showing, it's showing you that you have those 12 category options, but in the sample IPP that they made, I think they only put in like 3 or 4 things. It was like communication,
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
getting ready to retire. It was just a couple of
Yeah.
things. But there are other 12 categories to choose from. And they did say that although because the regional centers are all have different systems for input, we may have all a slightly different format. Excuse me. However, everyone's will follow the same template as far as information. So they may look a little different in their format, but they're all going to contain the same information. And the other thing that I thought was really great is that they're making a guide for clients and their families on the new template and what they can expect from the process. And then they're also looking at attaching a survey for it for the families so that they can get feedback on how the process is going and what the experience was like for them. And they're not sure what format they're going to do that in yet. They were considering QR code, but also recognizing that not everyone has that accessibility. And so looking at also maybe a paper format, some way to make sure that they can capture, their comments on that. Sorry, just my input.
Thank you very much. And Rhonda participated in that one as well. Michelle dropped some things in the chat. What do we have in the chat, Michelle?
Those are links to the documents that I just shared. DDS had sent out an email about an hour before the meeting, and the email contained what they, the link to the documents that they presented during the public meeting. So I dropped that in for you guys.
Again, this is stakeholder time. So if any of you have that little concern on your face, like Michelle Ramirez did when she heard Rhonda talk about different formats that regional centers are going to use and the challenges that might be related to data gathering, related to having 21 different formats of doing IPPs, please give stakeholder feedback to the department. Like, you guys are, some of you serve multiple regional centers where this is impactful, but more than anything, we know that good data can lead to good decision making. And so I think your voices are important. There's almost 100 of you on here, so please take advantage of the opportunities from the department.
And again, I'll put the email in that they want feedback. I have to go through the document, but I'll drop that in before we end today. The second item that I want to talk about again is more of an announcement, but we are seeking input regarding our caseload ratio. And so a caseload ratio measures the number of service coordinators assigned, or the number of clients assigned to one service coordinator. So we did a data pool in March, and we met 3 of our caseload ratios, and we did not meet 3 of our caseload ratios. And I'll go over the areas really quick. So we met clients who are movers within the last 12 months, and movers are individuals who transitioned from a developmental center or a STAR operated home, basically any facility that's operated by a state operated facility. So those individuals transitioned from one of those facilities to the community. So the required ratio is that they be on a caseload of 1 to 45. And so at Alta, they were on a caseload of 1 to 21. So we met that ratio. We also met the ratio for individuals who have complex needs. The required ratio is 1 to 25. At Alta, ours is 1 to 21. And individuals who have complex needs are those who have a lot of needs. Individuals who require crisis intervention. Individuals who, for example, require placement in an enhanced behavioral support home or community crisis home. So individuals who have complex needs. And then
One
also-
second, Michelle, your mic is doing that thing that it did yesterday, your microphone. We just had a big drop in your volume level, unfortunately.
Okay, is it any better now?
Nope, you're gonna have to yell a little bit in your office. We can still hear you, but just a little bit louder. Sorry.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, like that level of yelling, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. And then the third category that we met the ratio was clients who have low to no purchase of service. And those are individuals who have POSs below $2,000. We have 6 caseloads.
Oh, your sound's back up. All right.
Oh, so I should lower my voice?
There you go. Yes,
okay.
back
All
again.
right.
Sorry.
So we have at our regional center 6 caseloads of low to no purchase of service. These are individuals who have a POS that is under $2,000. And at Alta, we have 2 caseloads of individuals who are Spanish speaking. We have a caseload of individuals who are Russian. We have a caseload of individuals who are Hmong, and we have a caseload of individuals who are African American. And again, their purchases are below the $2,000. And so the goal of those caseloads is really to increase service access, to eliminate barriers. And so the low ratio helps service coordinators meet with those families, navigate barriers, explain services, educate about the regional center. And so the required ratio is 1 to 40. At Alta, the ratio is 1 to 32. So those are the 3 caseload ratios that we met. We did not meet clients enrolled on the home and community-based services waiver. Our ratio of 1 to 62 is required. And at Alta, our ratio is 1 to 75. We have clients under 6 years of age, a ratio of 1 to 40 is required. And at our regional center, it is 1 to 52. And we have clients over the age of 5, where the ratio is 1 to 66. And at our regional center, a ratio of 1 to 73 was reported. So we are asking for community input on for your ideas on how to meet caseload ratio. We have a dedicated email address, and it's ratioinput@altaregional.org. Again, I'll drop that in the chat when I'm done talking. And the last day of community input is June 3rd. So we are collecting your input. We're going to then put it in a report and to the department. We like to always, again, identify and document what the community has informed us. And so that is also required by Welfare and Institutions Code 4640.6. So please send your ideas, please send your input. And again, we're going to go through it, put it in a report, and also consider it, because we do want to be in compliance with the caseload ratios. And that is all that I have to share.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Sorry, folks, we had little sound issues in there. We're gonna be working on our production values at Coffee with Community Services in the future. And we'll get those little TikTok microphones and put one on Michelle's lapel or Jordan's when we have to do our reports. Let's see here. Michelle Duchesne, speaking of sound issues, how are we doing over there? I think we're figuring out that all of the Alta laptops are getting a little bit too old. So, Michelle Duchesne, let's see how yours is doing this morning.
She can always come over here real quickly and give an update if she wants.
Complete radio silence. All right, one moment here, folks. We are going to jump over to our other agenda item, which is going to be our vendor spotlight. Jason, who do we got?
So we have Southside Unlimited presenting this morning. And looks like Catherine is on. So Catherine, whenever you're ready.
Catherine, can I make you a co-host? Or do I need to make you a co-host?
No.
Nope. All right.
Yeah. So good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. So I am joined to promote a person-centered thinking training that Southside is hosting under an HCBS grant. And this is a free training that is open to vendors. I'm going to put the link to the Eventbrite in the chat. This one is a little different than the ones that we've done before. Under this grant, we created a focus group of local leaders who have participated in figuring out what are the barriers to agencies really moving forward with person-centered practices. And one of the things that we talked about is, while people have sent staff to trainings, that there may be still a level of or a barrier to getting all of the leadership at different agencies fully informed on person-centered practices. So we're really focusing this upcoming training on leadership. So while this training is open to everybody, we're really encouraging leadership to sign up. We have 40 slots available. So far, there are 7 slots left, so they're going really fast. And about 90% of folks who have signed up so far are managers, directors, or executives. So we're really encouraged by that. The other thing that's different about this training is we're also going to use it to do some data collection to see what the efficacy of this training actually is. So all the participants in this training are going to be asked to participate in a pre-survey before the training, and then surveys after the training to see how much knowledge people started with about person-centered practices, and then after the training to see what's changed. Is there anything that's changed in procedures or in practices at different agencies? How often are these skills being used? So the focus group is going to continue looking at that going forward. If you're not currently versed in person-centered practices, really what it's about is looking at how we can best support people based on what's important to them and important for them. And I was encouraged to see the new IPP structure that Michelle presented, because it looked like all of the language in there came straight out of person-centered practices. So if some of that language was not familiar to you, then this training would be perfect, because this training is going to show you exactly what information you need to learn about what's important to people and put that into a plan. So the people that come to this training, by the time they leave, they should be capable of providing services to a person in a very person-centered way and really digging deep into figuring out what's important to them and how best supports should be implemented for that person based on their needs. The training is going to be conducted by myself and Rachel Palmer-Tiffy with Progressive Employment. So this is a collaborative effort, and Rachel and I are excited to be training together for the first time. We're both certified trainers in person-centered thinking, and we're really excited. So even though this training is capped at 40 people, I have enabled the wait list, because with 40 people, I'm assuming with staff callouts and things like that, we'll still have people that'll drop out at the last minute. So if we're full, go ahead and put yourself on the wait list. And then I'm also going to track that and use it to see if there's a need to do a second round if we still have additional funding through this grant. So any questions about that? It looks like in the chat, Sheila shared transportation is the biggest issue when it comes to HCBS. Yeah, that's not something we're going to be able to address in that training. That's something I'll leave to the regional center to answer. But any questions about this training or person-centered practices? All right, then that's all I have, John.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That's great. Sheila, there's always room for a little healthy venting. We certainly are aware and consistently trying to work on our transportation issues, and certainly interested in talking with folks. I know we do support a number of providers when it comes to funding that they try to get to support their own transportation needs through grants and opportunities, and certainly willing to talk with folks more in the future about it as well. I think Michelle has resettled herself in Jordan's office. I'm going to share my screen real quickly. And I don't know, is it weird doing this meeting without doing like our introductions first? Like, is that a weird part of we skip right over it? We skip to Special Olympics instead. And so real quickly, just wanted to illustrate to folks that your community services department is here to provide you all the supports that you need. And there's quite a few of us. Some of you get to meet us here in the Coffee with Community Services, but we had 63 folks in our conference room for our meeting, including a couple interpreters. So anyways, we won't go into all the introductions because we got such a large group here. I do want to now share my correct screen with the DSP stipend now, Michelle, but I did want to show folks that we do all get together in person from time to time at our regional center. And I will share my screen. Let's see, Michelle, are you seeing the DSP stipend email?
Yes, yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Perfect. So now we're down to, I just want to share with everyone, we're down to 59 days for the remainder of this program. We are going to send out one more big push for our flyers through MailChimp to all of our providers, just to kind of get that final 9 Sundays and being able to grab those. So we're currently at, we had a growth last time at 7.7%. And it looks like our numbers, we hit over 11,000. So it's 11,070. And we are still in the lead with a couple regional centers right behind us. So that is, oh, I spoke with accounting as well, and they let us know that there will be another payment within the few weeks. So I'll have some more updates on that as well.
Any questions that folks have? I will say I hopped into the inbox today. Raven and Belinda always very busy with the things that they do. I hopped in the inbox as well because I know that folks email our DSP stipend inbox, and I saw brand new agreements in there. I saw brand new providers that are offering this right now, and that is awesome. The fact that we still are having folks that are getting this going this late into the game, and so we're going to do another little push, folks. We've got what did we say, 59 more days. And so we're going to be sending it out via our MailChimp server to everyone again as a reminder. But again, it is so awesome to be able to log in there and see that we have even now more and more of our providers that are getting access for this for folks. Lindsay, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to clarify, do people have to have taken the training by that due date, or do we have to have like confirmed their training by that due date, or like received the money? Do you know what I mean? Am I being clear?
I don't know that answer. I think the training needs to be completed by that date. Does that sound
my
about right?
understanding is correct, John. Yeah, the training needs to be completed by the 30th of June.
Okay. All right. So if someone did it on like June 29th, we would still be eligible to they would still be eligible to receive the payment for that.
Yeah, I assume that we're probably going to be processing payments for a little while, after that, because we're always doing it a little bit in the rears. So as long as they're in by that date, I think we feel really good about it. And again, we cannot say enough about you as service providers and what you have done to get this out to your staff, make this available to them. And as you know, we're not even approaching being the largest regional center in the state. We are almost half the size of Inland Regional Center, and they have so many service providers down there. But again, I just am very pleased with all of everyone's efforts. Thank you very much for that. We'll be sending it out again. Probably Herman's at the Special Olympics, so we'll probably send it out on Monday to everyone again as just a reminder to please do that. All right. Before I get into anything further, Michelle Johnson, we had our community meeting and we also had our Winters Town Hall meeting. And so for our community meeting, we had a good discussion about, and so we have our Coffee with Community Services. We get to meet with all of you service providers every single Friday. We've got all these updates that are going on. Some regional centers have meetings for their general community and offer opportunities for their executive team to listen and talk to the general, not just service provider related discussions. And so we held our community meeting, and I believe do we have about 50 folks that logged in? I thought it was something around that number, Michelle.
77, I believe, John.
Was it 77?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a good turnout, some good discussions in there. Camellia presented about the dental FAQs, the dental information that you can find on our website. Michelle talked about the when we have caseloads where we have a transition of service coordinators and how we ensure that individuals are still having all of their meetings met. And then I had an opportunity to talk briefly about the DSP collaborative. Shamir had an opportunity to discuss about the outreach events that have been going on. So it's going to be a quarterly event where we're going to be having these opportunities. Lori went over our performance contract and provided some updated information about that, about the feedback. So just want to thank everyone that takes the time to attend those types of things. And we appreciated that opportunity. And then Michelle, we had an opportunity last night as well. And I'll share a picture that came in from Lori Haas, who is the public guardian for Yolo County, who was present at our meeting last night. There we go. So I will share briefly. Unfortunately, we decided to wait to take our pictures for this after a number of people had already left the meeting in Winters. So unfortunately, not pictured in this is a nice family that showed up with their children. That was an 81-year-old woman with a 50-some-year-old son, and also a daughter who was also in her 50s that were both regional center clients of ours. And we had an opportunity with Veronica Hallgren from our office there representing Yolo County to participate as well, and some local advocates. So again, we had Supervisor Frericks, I believe, I think I said that correctly, which I guess he counts because he's also an Alta family member as well. So he's from the Board of Supervisors for Yolo County. He was present in that meeting. And then we had Supervisor-elect Sheila Allen. We had the Public Guardian's Office. We had local representatives from the Winters area. This is our 4th or 5th different town hall meeting that we've had in Yolo County since last year, since they've really shown a lot of interest in our concerns related to caregiver succession planning, related to our coordinated future planning initiative. And our commitment was not just doing the big meetings in Davis and in Woodland, where a lot of our clients live, but also going out to the entire community. And so we've had much smaller meetings in West Sacramento, smaller meetings in Esparto, smaller meetings in Winters as well. But, and I don't know if Veronica's on here this morning too, but I was very valuable. Oh, but she's right there. Hey, Veronica, thank you very much, Veronica, for spending your evening with us in Winters last night. And again, having like Catherine has been at these meetings before too. And so having the case management supervisor that's right there to be able to listen to the family members that show up, because they typically supervise the service coordinators, is really effective. Michelle and I spend our, we listen to feedback, and, we hear transportation challenges, we hear social isolation challenges, we hear communication issues, how to best, how the regional center can best communicate with us as family members about what's going on. And so I know we find it really valuable. Michelle and I, we always talk afterwards about like, oh, we need to look at trying to do this and try to figure out different ways where we can support kind of some of the local communities. So I know in Winters, for example, they were talking about the challenges with being able to get around in a wheelchair. And, our aging caregiver has issues getting around, but she's pushing her client, who is her daughter, who's our client in the wheelchair, and really has a challenging time navigating. And so being able to have those advocates there, and then we are going to be doing a follow-up meeting. Rhonda, we'll put it on your calendar. We'll be doing a follow-up meeting with the mayor of Winters and the folks there in the city of Winters, so that we can talk more about some housing options in that area. Again, we only have 75 clients that are kind of in that area there, but it's, again, our commitment to kind of get all that feedback from the folks in Yolo County. And we really have gotten different feedback from Davis than what you get in Esparto, for example, or Woodland to Esparto. So we're going to have one more meeting like that. We have a virtual town hall meeting that is coming up, and I will drop this in the chat before it's done, but we're going to be doing another meeting. So if you serve Yolo County, if you live in Yolo County, we do have a virtual town hall meeting, and that is going to be from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on May 22nd. And so we'll drop that. And this is going to go out via MailChimp, and it's also going to go out via go out on our social media as well. This will have both ASL and Spanish interpreters. We have had live interpreters for all of these in-person meetings in Yolo County. All right. Sick leave. So some of us last week were at the CSLN conference down in beautiful San Diego, California. The California Supported Living Network had their annual conference, and while they were down there, there was some presentations by a number of folks, including the Department of Developmental Services, letting us know that there were going to be some vendor rate adjustments that are available due to sick leave. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay, do you have the flyer? If you have the flyer, I will make you a co-host so you can share your screen before we leave, or if you can drop the flyer in
Okay,
the
I do
chat.
have the flyer. It is slowly loading in the chat, and I can also share my screen with it when you're ready for me to.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to make you a co-host, but we'll get to that in just a second. Let me share real quickly so that you understand where the regional center is at now that we've received on April 26th, and we'll share it with you now. The ability for there to be rate adjustments due to new sick leave laws in the state of California. I listened in on some sessions at the conference. I don't run a business, so I'm not an expert per se in all of this. However, what I will say is that I am familiar with our process that we've had previously when we've had minimum wage increases that have occurred. There's been opportunities for vendors to be able to submit and increase their vendor rates. We've done that on Dan Kilmer used to do this for us when we'd have our negotiated rate service providers that would have minimum wage increases, and we'd have to increase their rates as well for the negotiated rate ones. We learned, so what is going to happen is that there's going to be the opportunity for these rate adjustments. There's a schedule that's put out very clearly by the department. I'm going to drop this in the chat for it. And with that, we learned from Robin LeMay that they've already received the information as it relates to the arm level facilities and that they're going to begin inputting those rates immediately. We are operationalizing on our end how you are going to be submitting your information if you are a negotiated rate service provider. So if you do not have a DDS set rate, if, for example, Alta negotiated a rate for you up to the median rate, then we've developed a process with our accounting department where we are going to have an email inbox that's going to have you submit your information to them. And then Eli and Robin and our staff over in accounting will be reviewing and ensuring that you are able to get your updated rate in our system. And with that, I believe there should be no issues. You guys can, sorry. There should be no issues with whether or not that goes over the current median rates, because again, this is a rate increase. And so that is the process right now. Does anyone have any questions that we can maybe bring back to accounting or anything like that? I would prepare that we might have a little bit more of an extensive discussion at this at our upcoming provider advisory committee meeting, because again, it impacts everyone, and we want to make sure our provider advisory committee has an opportunity to ask the regional center about our process. But we do this. This is just doing it at a very large scale, and so we will have, again, our accounting department be responsible for implementing that. Let's see here, chat. Let me check in there. Lindsay, that made it in there for the May Day rally. Can you share what the May Day rally is, Lindsay?
Sure thing. Oh crap. Are you seeing? Hold on, I think I shared the wrong thing. All right, there we go. So the Capital Coalition, which is an advocacy group here in the Sacramento area, is hosting our first event, which is this May Day rally. And the goal of this event is to advocate for our rate increase that is currently scheduled for July 1st of this year to not be delayed, as is currently proposed in the governor's budget. So we need as many people as possible to come to the Capitol on May 21st. We'll be there from about 10 to 12, and we will gather. We'll march to the swing space. We'll deliver some letters, hopefully directly to the governor's office, but around the swing space to different legislators. So it starts at 10. We have speakers at 10:30, and then we'll probably march around 11. And this flyer is in the chat. There's a map on the back of the sort of schedule and where we're meeting up and where we're marching to. So please, please, please come, bring participants, invite family members, invite board members. We need as many people as possible to show up to make our voices louder.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm gonna give you tell people jump in the chat real quick if you can. There's only 2 slots left with Southside's training, and it's filling up fast. So get in there before our meeting ends, and you might get one of the last 2 slots. And then for the rally, I believe Lori Benalis is on the list of speakers for the 10:30 time slot, and so I think we're all going to be out there and really looking forward to it. I may talk or not too. We shall see if that happens. So with that, Carly, I just want to jump over real quickly. We won't get into too in depth, but I think we could at least show folks that we now have our new social media launched for the DSP Collaborative. And then maybe we want to encourage folks to attend our Provider Advisory Committee meeting next week, where we can maybe give folks a little bit more insight into the launch of that.
Yeah, let me share my screen. So we have launched our Facebook and Instagram pages. Are you seeing my screen?
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so this is our DSP Collaborative Facebook page. We already have 6 followers, so go ahead and
we're making progress
there and give us give us a little like. We have already posted our pictures from the last DICE over at Sutter County One Stop from April 23rd. I'll go through these just really quickly. You can see all the vendors we had there. It was a very successful event. All the vendors said that they got a lot of good resumes, and hopefully shortly we'll be able to get some more feedback on how many of those were turned into hires. Oh, how do I click out of that? Oh my goodness, this is in the way.
Again, I think we have now landed on that employment one stops, those are the places to do these types of job fairs. And I heard it was extremely active. I know Michelle Duchesne was up there too, trying to promote the DSP stipend as well at the same time. And so again, we're always looking at more of these opportunities. We encourage you all, please, especially if you're a member of the collaborative and your jobs are on there, get on our social media as well, because we want to help really promote this regional opportunity.
And the Instagram, it's the same DSP Collaborative 2024. That's connected to this. It'll have all the same postings, but if you go over there on Instagram, give us a follow so we can start building a following. This will really be driving people to the DSP website. DSP Collaborative website. And definitely encourage you to attend the Provider Advisory Committee. I will not be there next week. I will be off, but I don't know if John or Michelle will be talking
of course.
About social media.
Yes, we can go over the social media and everything else. So again, want to encourage folks to take a look at that. I appreciate all the hard work in getting that one set up. The training is full per Southside, right on. Congratulations. And thank you all for the updates today. Look forward to seeing a lot of you at the Provider Advisory Committee meeting next week. And we'll get some HCBS updates and all kinds of stuff when we see you next time. Take good care, folks. PAC information is in the chat.